hitting was my thing. That was like, my dad always
You
said,
don't
like, 22 consecutive postseason wins. I would have to stay after and do more ground balls, and you're sick of it. And you're sweating, you're pissed off, you're wearing ground balls off the neck. It's like, I don't want to be out here. I cried when I struck out up until high school. Like, I don't.
In case you can't tell, I don't know shit about baseball.
I was dressed like a French maid. I'm trying to feel sexy for the game again, right? It's like,
confidence, boys. Give it to me. Give it to me.
I still haven't hit a ball that hard in my life.
What's up, tailgaters? It's just me today. Pat's having a ball out there in Aspen, Colorado, so I'm doing the intro today solo. This guest, one of the all-time greats, Gamecock baseball players, Christian Walker, signed a fairly decent, nice little contract extension with the Houston Astros. But I mean, it was absolutely amazing experience. Get a chance to talk with him over at Steel Hands Brewery, which was, we've done several things over there, and the place is just immaculate. But I mean, some of the stories that Christian had to tell us, dating back from, when we were at South Carolina together with Pat and I, and, the camaraderie that the baseball team had with us, and, they're out there winning championships. We're trying to kind of copy them and, get to some sort of, I don't know, some sort of legitimacy as far as the, SEC football team goes. But, it was a really cool experience, and, getting a chance to talk with him, and he kind of got into some diving into his training regimen, what he's putting in his body. Meanwhile, we were putting in a couple beers during this segment, so it was pretty cool. But his MLB stories from the championship runs, how he still keeps in contact with some of the former teammates. And I mean, it was really just an overall cool experience. And again, we want to thank Steel Hands for providing an awesome location, great food, great beers, as always. So yeah, you guys check it out, listen up, and let us know what you think. Please leave a review, like, subscribe. We're getting ready to start this YouTube channel, so please help us out, do us a favor, and let us know what you guys think. Appreciate you.
Home Team Barbecue is fired up to take care of your tailgate and watch party needs this season. Home Team is known for its smoked meats, creative daily specials, and twists on Southern classic. Smoked wings, ribs, pulled pork sliders, barbecue nachos, or classic sides like mac and cheese and collard greens are the perfect feast to fuel your game day. Round up your friends and give Home Team Catering a shout at catering@hometeambarbecue.com, or head to 5 Points for a frozen game changer cocktail and barbecue snacks to celebrate the next Gamecock's big win. Visit hometeambarbecue.com to check out the menu. Looking for the perfect spot to unwind? Steel Hand Brewing in Casey has you covered. Whether you're craving a refreshing craft beer or just a great time with friends and family, Steel Hands has it all. With a variety of craft beers, spacious outdoor beer gardens, and a delicious food menu, there's something for everyone. Plus, join them for free live music every Thursday through Sunday. Visit steelhandsbrewing.com to see their lineup of upcoming events or host your own. Handforce and Casey and voted best local brewery again this year. Go visit steelhandsbrewing.com.
All right, you carnivores, we got a new sponsor, JCQ Farms, located off 177 Saluda Bluff Road in Batesburg, South Carolina. Huge Gamecock family, folks. So they have grass-fed beef, pasture-raised pork, and they have absolutely no antibiotics, no hormones, and all of the animals are treated humanely. They also practice regenerative farming. Right now, their top sellers are tomahawk ribeyes, cowboy ribeyes, fillets, bacon, and this primal ground beef mixture. It's heart, liver, and beef mix. If you're going to get any sort of meat, get it from here, folks. All right, well, as we start every episode, cheers to the possible quail hunt.
Possible quail
Thanks
hunt.
for having me.
We're here with all the beer out at Steel Hands Brewery in Casey. Christian, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate you taking the time during your off season to come hang out with some guys you hung out with a little bit in college, and we can kind of relive those moments a little bit.
Yeah, good.
That's what it's all about.
Slightly. We don't want to get him in trouble.
Me?
I'm just saying, you're still playing,
he
man.
he already got in trouble.
Yeah. Like, my stuff is well documented. But Coach Tanner was talking about on last night. He's like, Pat, how come, isn't it weird? How come you were never in trouble, and your roommate, your pal, how come he was always in trouble? He's like, I think you're sneaky.
Yeah.
I was at the parties.
He knows how roommates work.
I just got the hell out when I needed to get out. I tried to drag you out, but
Some people are more stubborn than others.
I was a moose. Was not moving.
Cool. Well, let's talk about your time at Carolina. I mean, being like, how the hell did you come down here from Pennsylvania? Like, talk about your recruiting process and what brought you here. What was it, Coach Tanner?
Yeah, a little bit for sure. To be honest, I didn't know much about the university. Grew up just outside of Philly, like Northeast ball. I always tell guys, like, I felt like I was tricking them when they made me an offer. Like, I committed without taking a visit. It was like they put an offer out there. 2 days later, I committed. Like, I thought they were going to find me out. Like, ended up taking a visit later and loving the campus, and came down Halloween weekend. That was my unofficial visit.
Yeah.
So I was,
That
was done.
Yeah.
It was like,
Locked
this is
up.
the best decision of my life. Playing travel ball down south. Fall ball, once it got cold in PA, we'd go to Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. So traveling around, ended up, in front of the right people and just right place, right time, I think.
Was it like did you have other SEC offers? Like, could you have gone just about anywhere?
Eventually got letters from a bunch of places, but I wasn't interested in like weighing my options and committing and decommitting or anything like that. It was like, this is once I saw campus and got a feel for it, and I came down and watched, they were running fall scrimmages. I think the whole vibe was exactly what I wanted.
It's a different world now.
It is a whole different world.
Now kids love getting recruited. Like the whole aspect of like, hey, I want to go on this visit. I want to take pictures in the uniform and this and that.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a show.
it wasn't like that. Like Coach Spurrier wasn't going to give you an offer unless it was something serious that he really wanted to consider. He wasn't going to give you an offer just to get you on campus to see you. Like, when he offered you, he wanted you to be here. I bet Coach Tanner was the same way.
Yeah, I definitely don't regret my decision or any of that. But part of me wishes I would have just seen some other schools and just taken. Right, you get 5 at the time. You got 5 official visits, and it'd have been cool to see other campuses and what was going on.
Did you even know where Columbia, South Carolina was?
Nope.
I had no clue.
Nothing.
I had no clue that it existed.
So from travel ball, like where would you, Myrtle Beach, Charleston? What type of tournaments?
A little bit in Myrtle Beach. We ended up playing after I committed. We ended up doing a tournament where we played at Sarge Fry.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I felt like, this was like my home field already. I was in high school.
Me, Come at me.
Yeah, but no, I didn't know anything. I remember seeing them on like regionals and College World Series, and once I dug into it, the stat that caught me was leading the league in home. There was like 2 or 3 seasons in a row they led the league in homers. It was right.
Justin Smoke freaking probably helped.
Yeah, James Darnell, Reese Havens, that whole crew was what I followed.
Had a good run. I mean, when we both came to, probably similar situation. Like, Steve and I knew nothing about South Carolina when we decided to come here. Like, Coach Spurrier was the only reason that we came.
Yeah, I mean,
not much of a history for football in South Carolina before we came here. And
You're
Coach Spurrier
You're from Tampa?
Tampa, yep.
Where are you from
from
originally?
Orlando.
Okay.
I remember coming with my parents on, as they were not necessarily moving me in, but kind of like looking over the campus. And we went to some restaurant, and people are like, "Oh, Garcia, what's going on?" Not many Garcias in Columbia. I'm like, my parents are looking at me like, "Are you sure you want to come to this shit?" not a lot of Spaniards out here, not a lot of Cubans. And I was like, "Yeah, well,
But
you see that girl right there? I kind of. You see that one over there? How about that one there? I'm coming here."
They're all good. But the big thing that Coach Spurrier harped on was, you want to come here and do something that's never been done before. You can go to, he could have went everywhere. I was a 2-star. I didn't get many offers. But could have gone anywhere and done something that's already been done. But come here and do something you remembered forever. Hell, you won 2 national championships here, played in 3 College World Series. You laid a pretty good legacy and path forward for what's coming for Coach Maneri and all baseball here in South Carolina. So
Yeah, there's something cool about when a coach says something like that to you, right? Like,
100%.
Let's do something. Like they got the vision. Let's do something that's never been done. As a young player, it's like,
That sounds pretty cool.
I want to be a part of that.
But we asked Melvin, we asked all those guys, and they all said the same thing. Like our recruiting class, they were like, "Yeah, Coach Spurrier said go to these other schools that's part of their rich tradition, or come here where we've historically sucked
it's just
and start your own thing."
Let's change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was his pitch at Florida. Florida, I guess, didn't have too much of history, as much of history as
Well,
had before them.
yeah, that's
Because
true.
he came in there and lit the place on fire. But talk to us about kind of your development during your time in Carolina. You came in and played kind of right away. But talk about each year how you continue to stack days. It's a process. It isn't like come in there and right off the bat. But
Right.
talk about your process and your growth during your time here.
Yeah, I think what helped me was not knowing much about SEC ball. I knew the clout that it had, and everybody wanted to go down south and play baseball, but I didn't. It helped me not put too much pressure on it. Where coming down, there wasn't much in my head of like, do I belong here? Am I good enough to play here? It was just the next step. It just always felt like it was, just part of the process. And it seemed like there was an opportunity. At the time, I was playing third base, so it seemed like there was a chance to play third. And right in started, playing third base in fall scrimmages and all that. And hitting was my thing. That was like my dad always
You
said,
don't
like he was like, you're gonna hit your
Gold
way
glove
into a
the guy
lineup.
over here though
Yeah,
too.
that's recent though. That's
Don't let it slide.
yeah. Ask Coach Tanner about that. He kicked my ass at third, big time. But yeah, I felt like I was confident in my offense, and right away, like there's hazing, there's like there's older guys, there's younger guys, but pretty immediate it was like, oh, this is where I want to be.
Right.
This
is what I want.
It just
This
felt
is
right.
why I came here.
Yeah, there wasn't much of like, can I do this or anything like that. It felt, super natural.
Yeah, tell us about the team. Like you were saying earlier about your roommates. Tell us about your roommates, kind of how that evolved and kind of how the friendship grew. Like y'all, I mean, we hung out a bunch in college. Y'all had a fun group. Your baseball group was a blast.
Yeah.
And we were joking around with Roth, but like we competed with you guys and drinking games, volleyball. Like it was a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But like it was always kind of cut up. But like push came to shove, like football wanted to beat baseball,
Right.
baseball wanted to beat football. There was always like the little edge that we had.
Yeah, that's fun to think about. When I think about my roommates, like, so coming in freshman year, you're in the dorms.
East Quad.
Yeah.
East Quad.
Yeah, East Quad.
I drove by there today on the way over here and showed Memphis. I was like, hey, that's where we used to live. He's like,
That
the
sucks.
pink building?
Yeah,
I was like,
it's still pink. Yeah.
it's still pink.
A lot of shit happened
A
on those
lot
bricks.
of the bricks. If only the bricks could talk. Thank God they can't.
Yeah, my roommate. So you just get dealt roommates. So random selection, 4 guys in the room. Ended up staying with those 4 guys even when we moved off campus. Like it felt right. Like we had a good bond. Me, Evan Marzilli, Bryson Selleck, and Tyler Webb.
Yeah. Some studs in that group too.
Yeah. It was a blast, man. It was good mix of like some guys would hold us accountable, couple party guys in there, but yeah, fun. We had like 2 or 3 rooms together. Thank you.
Where'd y'all live after you moved off campus?
I went to the retreat.
The retreat's still
Oh,
going.
my.
Yeah, we drove by it recently, and my wife was asked. It's like it seems like so many new buildings are popping up on campus now. So we were trying to get a feel if people still love living out there, or if going towards campus is the play now.
I think it's a blend. I mean, some stuff closer to downtown, or closer to campus and downtown, but I know that the retreat and all that stuff over there, they're all
Retreat pool parties were
But there's
electric.
The other ones are different names now. Shoot, I forget what.
Was it the Woodlands? Was the
Woodlands
other,
was
the
one
other
and
spot?
3 names.
Olympia.
Yeah, we were in Olympia Mills. Lots of fun pool parties in Columbia, South Carolina. Well, it's 115 degrees here in the summer, so you got to find a pool to get to anyways.
I want to ask you real quick, did you play any other sports when you were growing up? Well, you normally ask all the guys we have. Did you play anything else?
Basketball, football, baseball.
Okay.
I was trash at basketball.
Yep.
Like I was a good athlete.
Hustler, yep.
Yeah. Like
Great defense,
Yeah, catch
good
me in the
passing,
paint.
good
It's
control,
bad
yeah.
news, but couldn't shoot. Football was the other thing that I really liked. Like I was this size in high school, but ended up breaking my leg pretty bad. And my dad, I had to talk him into letting me play. Like did Pee Wee football growing up and all that, and took some time away. And I think he always wanted me to focus on baseball. So school ball came around, and I had to convince him to let me play, and shredded my leg. And
What position?
all of them. I started out as a quarterback. Couple QB sneaks later, I was the running back. Punter, kick returner, kicker. It was like just
do it
keep
all.
me on the field, little linebacker. Like I was just wanted to be out there.
Now, in high school, you came here to play third base, first base. Like in high school, were you pitcher, shortstop, center fielder, or did you play third, first? Like, where'd you play in high school on your baseball team?
So I was a catcher for a while.
Okay.
Got to high school, and my head coach in high school, Tom Sergio, actually played for Tanner at NC State. So he was a baseball guy, messed around in pro ball for a little bit. He ended up moving me to third base. Just I forget the reason at the time, but felt like it was a good spot. Like didn't want to lock me up behind the plate. Looking back,
freshen your legs up.
Catching might have been the play, but
Let that go.
Yeah. It so third base, mostly infield, not a lot of outfield growing up.
You don't look like an outfielder.
Yeah, it's not my body type.
It's none of our body types.
Yeah, this rig doesn't move well in the outfield.
This rig. That's a great term.
But infield, and then got to South Carolina, third base. Halfway through my freshman year, ended up switching to first, and it's been first ever since.
Found a really good home.
Yeah, I love it.
Worked out pretty well.
Focus on hitting again.
Yeah. Well, tell us about the 2010 season. You were always a good player, but the moment that stands out was when you hit a ball 9,000 feet at Coastal in the Super up there. I was actually at the game with a couple of buddies. We drove up and watched the series, and it was the hottest baseball game I've ever been to.
At 11 o'clock at night.
It was miserable, but you hit a ball like to the moon. Tell us about that series, because that was one. I mean, Coastal was good. Coastal was supposed to beat us in 2 games and move on. Tell us about that series, and especially that at bat.
Yeah, I don't know why that series got moved. Usually there's a hosting, right? Usually you play those games at Coastal, and I don't know why we ended up playing at the Riverdog Stadium there. But I think that helped us.
Short left field.
Yeah.
You hit it over 2 left field.
Yeah, but I think like the little bit of neutral territory. It was so close, a couple hours down the road. We had a good fan base that traveled. But I remember the at bat before that homer, striking out 3 pitches, similar sequence. It was like curveball, fastball in, froze me. Never got the bat off my shoulder. Got back to the dugout. I didn't want to make eye contact with Tanner. He got in my ass a little bit, like hitting in the 4-hole.
Yeah.
Gave me his whole spiel. Come back up next at bat. We kind of felt the inning building. He's got the story about talking to Adrian Morales and Jackie, and getting on base, giving Walker a shot, this and that. So ended up getting up with a couple guys on, and same thing, breaking ball, strike 1, breaking ball, strike 2. It's like,
is he bringing this fastball
here
inside
we go
now?
again. Yeah, all
this guy's gotta be,
in, like,
he's gotta be
stuck slow, bounced one, and then ended up hanging a breaking ball for that 4th pitch. And, yeah.
See you later, ball.
Yeah, Tanner and Roth talked about it. There's how far that ball was hit.
I still haven't hit a ball that hard in my life.
But Tanner talked a lot about his coaching philosophy, and he was like, I coached those guys really hard. I held them to a standard that they probably didn't think they can achieve themselves, but it helped them elevate. But he's like, game day, and I'm sure as a player you'll probably push back and be like, no, he was an asshole on game days too at times. But he's like, I felt like my job was to work them so much during the week that come game time, I'm hands off. I'm not yelling at them. I want to watch them go have fun. I want to watch them go get after it. Was that true? Or?
Yeah, I think it was. There was a minute there my freshman fall where I wasn't sure if I could play for him. I had never had somebody be so hard on me. My dad was hard on me, but it's a different vibe. And I mean, high school ball, everybody, you're the best player on every team, and it's a different energy when somebody treats you like you haven't earned anything.
Right.
And that was something that I really needed. In the moment, I hated it.
Yeah.
But looking back, he's one of the most impactful people, but coaches that I've had, cross paths with me over the years for sure. But I mean, I think you nailed it. He worked us. He worked us. There was no cheap practices, no cheap reps. I heard the wave of guys before us had it worse than us.
Yep.
I mean, Roth talked about it today. He's like, I think towards, when in our tenure that Tanner kind of
pulled up a little bit.
Yeah, kind of chilled and let the locker room kind of.
Yeah, that's what he said. He had kids, and he never realized that people had feelings until he had his own kids, and then he ended up softening up a little bit.
I also think a part of that is he trusted you guys, and he knew the leadership that y'all had, where he felt like he might have needed to dig in your ass a little bit on the early side to they're callous, they're ready, they can go run, they can be them, and my leaders will hold the new guys to a high standard. I don't have to be the one that keeps pushing the button.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I got Christian, I got Roth, I got Scott Wingo, I got Jackie Bradley, I got Witt, I got all these guys that have been here for 2-3 years now that know my standard, saw how leaders before them led, and I can let them go handle the locker room.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, he knew how to get the most out of us.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was just go compete, or it was, thinking about the game a different way, or, he'd be out there after practice. The team would go in for ground ball or for weight work, and I would have to stay after and do more ground balls and more ground balls, and you're sick of it, and you're sweating, you're pissed off, you're wearing ground balls off the neck. It's like, I don't want to be out here. And then, you know, season comes around and you dominate. It's like, oh, okay, this all makes sense now.
Well, that's like the mindset of like a coach is only going to ask you to do what they think you can do. There's like, you know, if a coach is hard on you, it's because they know what you can be. And a lot of people shy away from that. And it's like being able to sit through it and be like, this sucks and I want to kill this coach, but this coach has my best interest at heart, and he's going to get me to a point where you're at in your career right now, like you wouldn't be there without somebody that was holding you to that standard at that early point in your career.
Yeah, I agree. When you're working harder than you would to spite somebody, right? Like spite can go a couple different ways.
For sure.
And when it's working to your favor, I think he's pulling all the right strings.
Yeah. Tell us about Omaha in 2010. So closing down Rosenblatt. Who'd you guys beat in that? Was that Arizona?
Was it Florida, right?
10 was UCLA.
UCLA. You beat UCLA and Florida in the following. Tell us about kind of closing down Rosenblatt.
Yeah, amazing. I think when I think about the College World Series, those are the memories that I think. You know, the field up on the hill, all the different colored seats in the stadium. TD Ameritrade was great when they built that. It was state of the art, but the history in Rosenblatt was different.
Shorter field. Ball flew a lot better.
Ball was flying.
We're talking about he's like,
flying.
I was excited because we weren't like a big crazy. We had some big hitters, but like playing Florida had a lot of hot bats. Like playing them in Rosenblatt versus playing them in TD, like it favored us a lot more playing them in TD.
Yeah, we got matched up with Clemson. We had to beat Clemson, so we had to come out of the losers bracket. We had to beat Clemson twice to go to the finals. And I feel like when that matchup came on, it was like,
Game on, bitches.
yeah, here we go.
Well, that's when Roth came in and pitched the last game.
Yeah, what a...
Where he told us that story too.
I can't get over that. Yeah, it was like, hey, can you give us a couple innings? The guy almost threw a complete... He might have thrown a complete game.
He's a stud. And he's also one of the funnest human beings ever.
Yeah, that was kind of the nature of that team too.
Tell us about, you know, so you win it in 10, and then Tanner talked about how very uncharacteristic of him drove to TD on the way to the bus after y'all were celebrating. Everyone's probably hungover, like, golly, coach, can you just get us on this plane so I can get back to Columbia? But he drove by TD and was like, hey guys, see what's going on right here? We're going to be back here next year. We're going to do this exact same thing again next year.
Yeah, that was it's hard to explain, but that second year in 11, it felt like that was the only option. Like we were good. We knew we were good. But coming through it, defending it, like, I mean, you couldn't beat us at home. Just wasn't going to happen. Whether it was, you know, the talent we had on the field or the mentality or the coaching, probably a combination of all the things. But I remember playing that year, going out on the field, and it wasn't even a decision. It was like, we're going to win this game. It's just a matter of how.
Just, I mean, Roth talked about, I'll tell you, just the confidence that the team had.
Will to win, the grit. Like, it was like, but then you go into 2011 and, like, you look at a team like Florida that was absolutely stacked, and joked about this with those guys, but they're like 6'4", 220 across the board. Like, everybody on their team is 6'4", 220. And you look at South Carolina, and there's, you know, Tyler Webb, and there's Adrian Morales, and there's Christian Walker, and there's Scott Wingo. I mean, it was like a freaking wave of people. And Coach Tanner joked around about, like, yeah, you know, I caught a lot of heat for recruiting people that look like me to play in South Carolina. He's like, but I knew the type of people that they were. I knew how tough they were. I knew how gritty they were. I knew how talented they were. I knew that they were leaders. Like, I didn't have to have the big pretty mannequin to go win baseball games. I can doctor up runs. I'm a good baseball coach. And he found ways. Like, he won a lot of games, 3-2, 2-1, because he would manufacture a run, and he had good pitching, good defense behind it.
Yeah, I think that was, thinking back to his coaching style, I think that was part of it. It was like, to get through the gauntlet, to make it through, like, he was proven to the player what we were capable of, but also, like, proven to himself, like, oh, I can trust these guys. Like, if we can get through that, like, that was hard. Like, making through falls with Coach Tanner, that was a grind. The season came, we were like, thank God the fall was over. Now we can play.
Right.
Yeah.
Was the off-season workouts where they were brutal?
Yeah, so.
Billy, right?
Yeah. We got after it in the weight room. I'm sure nothing compared to what the vibe was like in the football weight room.
It was.
Yeah, Black Iron, Mark Smith he killed us our first 2 years.
Yeah.
And then Craig Fitzgerald came in and killed us, but in a more respectful way. I would say.
But there was times where it's like, man, I don't know if I want to be here anymore. This absolutely sucks.
Yeah, something that Tanner did that I loved was we didn't do many like 5 a.m. lifts, 6 a.m. lifts, nothing like that. Practice was 2:30 every day, but you had to make every rep count. It was practice at game speed.
Yep.
If you did it the right way, we weren't going to be out here long, but handle yourself the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And it was short and sweet, but we got better.
Yep.
We got better, and I think it's fitting knowing what I know about baseball now. It lines up with how big league practices and workouts are run. It's like,
Be efficient.
yeah, we're not going to be out here for 6 hours, but when we're out here, you're gonna do things the right way.
Do it right, do it light. Do it
Yep.
wrong, do it long.
That was something I wanted to ask you guys about, the mental preparation for football. Like baseball and football are such different sports, right? Like we're playing 162 games.
Yep.
Like we're in it. We're going all out, but we got a game tomorrow. And we got a game the next day and the next day. And for the next
chances, yeah.
6 months, we have games every night.
Yep.
Right. So you're aware of that the whole time. Where I see football and I see the pregame stuff in the tunnel, and it's like, I'm a high energy guy. I'm an intense, like, I take things so seriously, like almost to a fault sometimes in baseball. And I'm a try hard guy, and I see football players go, and I'm like, man, I wish I would have got a chance to know what that was like behind the scenes and in the weight room. And you see the guys on the squat rack with the team behind them, and it's like that energy is cool.
Yeah.
It's contagious.
I mean, yeah, but it takes, it's not like all coaches do a good job of like manufacturing it. Like, I wouldn't say it's natural for everybody to want to go freaking squat 600 pounds and hurt their back.
It is not.
The coaches would pour so much into you, and like the work would take, you start with doing eccentric work, and you start with doing high rep work, and you're like slowly working it up, and then you're like, shit, I'm getting stronger. I'm seeing like some real progress. Let's see how like what buttons can I really push here? And like all those coaches did a great job of doing that. But like locker room tunnel before a football game, like getting ready to take the field at Williams-Brice Stadium in 2001, like there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fires me up.
I mean, playing in a Super Bowl, like opening kickoff of the Super Bowl, I'm like, pinch myself. And then I'm like, is this game too big for me? Is like, am I meant to be here? And I hit the first guy, and I'm like, all right, same damn game.
Yep.
So it is like, but I think in all sports, it's about being able to
remain kind of even keel.
kind of have no pulse type thing. Obviously, you want like the big moments, like you're going to feel it a little bit inside, but like being able to channel that energy and not let it get to your head or not let it kind of get fidgety with too much like negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know that I tried to like your first few years of any sport, like you're like, you're a baby, you're trying to figure it out, and you see these old guys and you're like, how are you doing this? And like they knew the mind game, they won the mind game, so they were able to kind of remain even keel. And towards the tail end of my career, like I was able to figure that out the first few years. Like, I would miss a block and I'm like, I'm gonna kill that guy next play. Or I'd miss a pass protection, I'm like, he's dead now.
It's personal.
Trying to kill him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like it was a detriment because I'm going in and I'm lunging at the guy and I miss again and I'm like, God bless him. I'm like, just to block this guy.
I mean, that's
different. It is different for Steven. Steven had, was it spikes?
Yeah.
When he hit you in Florida.
Yeah, he called me I don't know if I can. I'll say it. He called me as he threw me down on the ground, and I was like, "Oh shit! All right, well, I got to go out this play, so
When
I'll see
Spurrier
you
was
next
doing the
play."
flip.
Yeah,
What
so that was fun.
Pregame for quarterback versus the back, like you guys in the locker room before the game, is everybody together prepping? Are you guys in different rooms getting your shit together? Like what's the energy like right before game?
I mean, it's all same room, all in the locker room, but you kind of have like different breakout areas where you're meeting with Coach Mangus, I'm meeting with Robert Gillespie, whoever your position coach is. But it's like, it's 2 minutes. It's not much. It's like, big guys, Hayes in the barn, we worked our ass off. We have a great prep. Let's go kick ass. And then Coach Spurrier wasn't much for motivational speaking. Guys.
Yeah. But I mean, he would sit there in front of me. I'm listening to Last of the Mohicans soundtrack, and I'm just getting in the absolute zone, just fired up. And he's sitting there talking to me, and I got my headphones in. He clearly sees that I'm not listening to him, and I'm just staring at him, just a blank stare.
What do you need, Coach?
What do you want? What do you want, Coach? He's like, what are you listening to? Last of the Mohicans. Any more questions? Leave me alone.
Let me go kick Alabama's
Yeah,
ass real
enough,
quick.
man,
Just get out of
enough.
my way.
This is the time of year where I'm looking for walkout songs too. So maybe I got to visit that soundtrack and see what we got.
You got to. That'll get you jacked up.
Yeah.
Now a word from our sponsor, Tony Pope at State Farm. Switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on the lights, we switch the TV channels, and some of us switch partners while square dancing. Well, that's a stretch. But what's not a stretch is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, State Farm agent Tony Pope, right here in South Carolina, can switch you over so you can start saving today. Tony and his team are ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood. With Tony Pope, it's easy to switch and save. Just give him a call at 843-851-2222 or visit TonyPope.com. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. We are proud to be sponsored by our buddies David Marshall and Shane Burrows and their law firm Lanier & Burrows. These guys are Gamecocks from undergrad through law school, and they bleed garnet and black. They practice all across South Carolina, helping people and families who have been injured or killed in car accidents, trucking accidents, work accidents, medical malpractice, nursing home negligence, basically any type of incident. Unfortunately, though, for Stephen, they don't really handle all that criminal stuff. If you or someone you know was injured, let Shane and David investigate it at no cost to you. They will get you answers and will let you know if they can help. They only get paid if they get you a recovery. Give Lanier & Burrows Law Firm a call at 803-268-9800. Gamecock fans, if you want to look your best, go swing by Granger Owings on Main Street or in the Trenton Plaza. Granger Owings strives to deliver the best-in-class customer service paired with the finest fashion. Their stylists truly cater to each customer, starting with a personalized consultation every time, and help each individual build a wardrobe based on their lifestyle needs, occasions, and preferences. At Granger Owings, you will find the latest from classic, up-and-coming, designer brands of clothing and shoes for men and women. From business attire to custom clothing to sportswear, weekend wear, and formal wear. They dress their customers for every occasion.
So during your time at Carolina, who left a lasting impact on you from like teammates that you had? Who are guys that you're today like, you know, got a bar fight coming? Who you calling? Like, hey, reliable guys. Like who are your dudes?
Yeah. So one of my roommates, Evan Marzilli, absolute grinder.
Is he from Northeast as well?
Yeah, Rhode Island.
Yep.
Rhode Island. We had that in common for sure. Northeast felt like we were on a team.
Yep.
But a guy who wasn't slotted to start or really even play freshman year, earned his way into that lineup, proved everybody wrong, became a key part of those national championships.
Yeah.
But I've never. He was the first guy that I crossed paths with that I was like, oh, this is how you work. Like I remember him going over to the bubble. And like swinging sledgehammers before class, like, and not talking about it. Like, didn't do it because he wanted people to know he was doing it. Like, felt like he had something to prove to himself. And I remember thinking, I still think about him to this day. Days where it's like, man, I don't
feel like doing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a day. Like I'm a little tired. It's like guys like that. It's like, man, I like
him down.
Yeah, that fires me up, man. It's like. You don't owe him anything, right? But it's like that's the motivation. When I need to dig deep, it's like I think about guys like that who wouldn't blink at doing something like that.
Talk about playing next to Scott Wingo. Wingo is a freaking character. He covers a lot of ground there at second base. He's got a hell of a glove.
Yeah. One of the better defenders I've ever played with.
Not a strong hitter, according to
Tanner threw his bat under the bus. It's like the best thing Scott did is he listened to me, and I taught Scott how to get hit by the pitch.
That's just, and then he led the country in hit by pitches.
He doctored getting on base because he wasn't going to hit himself on base.
Yeah, that was kind of the vibe of those teams, though, right? Like you said, like not a bunch of the 6'4", big recruits. It was like guys who
just ballers
want to be out there. You got gamers as Tanner would say, lunch pail guys. Like they're bringing their lunch. They're in it to prove everybody wrong.
That's such an old school phrase. The lunch pail guys. I love that.
Was it Bobby Haney? Was he 10 or 11? There was another shortstop.
He was 10. Yeah. Peter Mooney after that.
Yes, another small guy.
Yep. Yeah.
Just
another
bunch
baller,
of gloves.
bro.
Yes,
Baller.
Just tough as hell.
Yep.
How was your relationship with Adrian Morales?
Great.
He's a dog.
Yeah.
I actually talked to him. I told Tanner this the other night. He called me and he's like, "Hey man, I got a Korean guy He needs a place. He's doing his rehab in Tampa. He needs a place to stay. I said, yeah, you can rent out the back house. That's fine. So this guy shows up, and I was like, holy shit, this is an actual Korean guy. Like, so he, we're sitting there talking, and I don't know if Adrian wants to hear this, but had a couple beers, and I was like, hey, what do you think about Adrian? He's like, the guy is just ultra intense, like super intense. I was like, oh, well, all right, I'm not going to tell him what we're doing then. I don't think he's going to want to hear us drinking beers.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be doing rehab.
No, he's the best. He came in as a JUCO guy, had like a couple years, 1 or 2 years to like he knew he was going to be at Carolina, try to go on the pro ball. But I mean, another guy that outside of the coaching, like you could go to and be like, hey man, I'm grinding. What do you got for me? Or you could be like, you're right. Like he would come up and be like, hey man, you look nervous. You good? And would give you some crazy pep talk and like pull you out of it. Like,
so he's always been kind of a coach type deal.
Yeah, the go-to guy for any competition setting that you need.
Talk about like inter-squad scrimmages. How many times do you have to hit against Roth? I mean, and in the fastball changeup that he throws?
Yeah, nasty. Mick had 6 different arm slots.
Yeah.
I mean, he was throwing changeups like before you really even knew what a good changeup looked like.
Yeah.
Deception. Like I think about Roth, I think about just pure deception. Wasn't going to blow you away with 95, but I mean,
he said he touched 93.
Yeah, he said he threw 93 once.
It's in there. It's in there. Yeah, it's in there. Yeah. No disrespect to the left arm, but he knew how to get guys out. We crossed paths a few times in pro ball too. But I mean, my first impression of him, he was like a lefty reliever. He was hitting at the time too. He would get pinch hits off the bench, find a good matchup and throw him in there at the plate and could hit too. Like good athlete, and I think that translated on the mound too.
He said in 2010 in the Clemson game, when they asked him if like, are you willing to throw tomorrow? And he's like, yeah, of course. Thinking he was going to throw to 2 or 3 hitters, like, I'll be ready. Of course, I'm always ready. I'm a relief pitcher. And they're like, no, you're going to start. And he's like, wait, can I still hit BP? Can I still hit BP?
Yeah. Yep.
And he said Adrian Morales was like, what are you doing? Why are you here? Why are you hitting BP? Yeah, come on, man.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, Roth is a character, man. That was a fun, long interview there.
It was. Well, so what was if you could go back, well, walk us through, you win it in 10, pressure of having to do it again in 12. Or you won it in 10 and 11, doing that, and then the pressure of trying to do it again in 12.
Yeah. Pressure, definitely pressure. But like in 11, it felt like this is what we're supposed to do.
Right.
Like it was expected. Like tribute to Tanner for like cultivating this winning mindset. Like at the time it was like win anyway, right? Find a way to win. Doesn't matter who's out there, what they're projected to do, how good this team is. Like we're better, we're good enough, we're going to win this game. And 12, it felt like the same thing. We get back to the regional, win a regional super, sweep it again, get to home. Like so the postseason consecutive wins.
Yep.
22.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
22 consecutive postseason wins.
Shit.
Yep.
By far a record. I don't know the timing of it, right? Losing the first game in 10, winning out, 11, winning out, 12, winning out until the finals. And it was that. It was like, this is just
Standard.
This is the norm. Yeah. It wasn't like, what's going on? There was a couple games. There was the Florida games in 11 where it went extras. There was an extra inning game in 11 against Virginia. That we needed some luck, some good fortune, like some good things to happen. But it was that, like, we weren't shocked.
Yep.
It's hard to explain. Like it's when you're in it, like you felt those moments as athletes. Like it's like
no question,
right? Like I don't know where this is coming from,
but we work so hard that it's bound.
It's going to happen. It's non-negotiable.
Yeah. I mean, expand on that. In 11, like, shit went y'all's way to get there too. Like there were times where, as Gamecock fans, players, like you'd have been like, man, we got a mountain to climb here. Like the ball seemed to always bounce our way. I mean, you spoke on it a little bit. You thought it was destiny, but like speak on some of those crazy, bizarre moments that you knew were going to happen because you experienced them in practice. You knew what guys could do. Like, him throwing the guy out, the left fielder throwing the guy out at home, certain plays. Like talk about those things that happened that kind of made it all make sense.
Yeah, baseball, I mean, like all sports, baseball it's a momentum game. You do something in the 6th inning that translates to the end of the game and gets you a run in the 9th. I don't remember the innings. It might have been in extras. There was back-to-back innings where we were out in the field and Florida had bases loaded with no outs, 1 out.
Yep.
It was like
I remember that.
right
Shit.
bottom. They're the home team. It's like they push one run, a swinging bunt gets this run across, the game's over.
Yep.
And it's like line drive up the middle. Wingo lays out, makes a crazy pick, like full glove flip, double play, out of the inning.
Yep.
You're like,
Where did that come from?
what? Yeah, and you get back to the dugout and you don't get a run. You go back out in the field. All of a sudden, it's bases loaded again, no outs. Same thing, diving play, Wingo up the middle, throw or line drive, right? Throws it home.
Yep,
Robert Berry picks a ball.
Yep.
I mean, it's such a subtle thing, but I remember looking back at the replay. I don't know what the protocol is there with catchers and like right their mask. So he threw his mask off and it was on the ground right in front of home plate. The ball that Wingo threw home, it was a pick for Berry. I mean, it bounced
Missed the helmet by that much.
an inch away from it. Could have hit his mask. Game over.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, he makes a stretch, a first base play, picks it, throws the guy out at first base, inning over again.
Yep.
It's like, man, like,
Can't make
That's
the shit up.
destiny.
yeah, you're like, this, we have to win this. Like, you can't be a part of these moments and not buy into like, we're supposed to be here right
I
now.
remember I was next to the Berry's family during that whole thing. That was goosebump type.
Because he
plays.
was he wasn't y'all had 2 catchers catching that year. Was it Enders and him, or who was the other catcher?
Yeah, Ender's definitely in 10. 11, Barry ended up catching most of the postseason. I can't remember if we had an injury or something, but he ended up kind of filling. He was kind of a utility guy for us.
Yeah.
And it was like we put on the catcher role for him, and I mean, he killed it.
He's from Orlando, where I
about to
grew
say
up.
Orlando guy.
He was a hell of a football player too.
Freak athlete.
Safety, running back, like pitcher, catcher, shortstop,
Yeah,
everything.
little
baseball
muscle
Western.
hamster back
I would
there.
have run that son of a bitch over.
He's a cop. Well, he's a cop now. He's a cop now here in Columbia.
Yeah,
So he's
yeah.
local here.
Yeah, we touched base a little bit. He's good people.
Yeah, he is.
And then that ball out to Jake Williams, right? It's like
Yeah.
fly ball, guy on third, less than 2.
He's hauling ass.
Yeah, it's like Jake's a baller,
Yep.
not known for his arm strength.
Yep.
Deep left field, wasn't a shallow fly ball,
did
wasn't
it,
easy
didn't
play, deep, like angels in the outfield, launched it,
Yep.
perfect, right on the money, out, like next play, double play up the middle, inning over. Like,
Can you throw a baseball?
I used to be able to before I had my AC separated and my labrum torn and rotator cuff torn.
Okay.
can you throw a baseball?
No,
No.
I cannot throw a baseball to save my life.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing. A lot
Have
of
you
baseball
tried? Yeah.
players can't throw a football.
Like Cliff.
Yeah.
Talking about Cliff again.
Cleo.
Couldn't throw a damn football to save his life. I don't know how the hell he was on the roster, but he could take
Throw a
the.
baseball.
Oh my God, we go out there on top of a spire. Remember that apartment complex?
Yeah.
Right
The
across
spire?
from the bookstore.
Yeah, we go on top there and just throw the freaking cowhide, as we called it. We throw around the cowhide, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, God damn, man, stop throwing the fucking ball so hard. I mean, he could rip it, but it's such a different
He
throwing
couldn't
motion.
throw a flat route since his life when he was on football school.
Yeah.
When I see somebody who can throw a football, like knows how to throw a football, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to catch this. It hurts. I played with Archie Bradley. He was committed to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Ended up getting drafted and going into baseball. But like one of those guys, like it's pretty watching him throw a football. Like a football to me is like I could throw a spiral, but I mean it's like,
Put it where you want
bro,
to.
it's heavy. It's like it's awkward. Like I don't know where my arm slot is. I'm like I don't know where this thing needs to be.
You should see some of the YouTube gurus that are teaching arm angles, and it's driving me crazy.
A lot of pitchers throw footballs
Really?
as like off-season work. Like
Just because it's heavier?
heavier, it's slower, so less
arm speed.
less
Torque.
damage.
Yep.
You can build strength,
Makes
but
sense.
not hurt yourself. But yeah, football is it's becoming a training tool.
That's interesting.
What I mean, your game elevated a lot in college, obviously. Like what hitting tactics, hitting coaches, what's like you were always a good hitter, but like what was it in college that elevated your kind of your hitting strategy, your mental capacity taking the plate? Like what was it that made you take it to the next level?
Yeah, at the time it was just confidence, buying into myself. There wasn't too much mechanics at that time.
Swing was your swing, you're gonna live with it?
Yeah, and like that was kind of the nature of Tanner and the way he ran things was like we recruited you for a reason. Like, go prove it.
Hit bombs.
Yeah,
Right.
like just do. Yeah, I remember him calling me out middle of batting practice, like wave me out. He would throw batting practice every day. Wave me out to the L screen, middle of BP, like
What, yeah. What do you want?
What do you got?
And he's like, hit this ball off the foul pole. I'm like, all right. Like, just launch balls. Like, he didn't, there wasn't like a how to do it. It was like, just do it because I know you can do it.
Right.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And it was like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, I don't need to be thoughtful. I don't need to like worry about my timing. Like, get ready to hit, get a good swing off, and good things happen.
And the dude that's calling shots, trust me to do it.
Well, I asked him last night, do you guys, in the majors, do you guys do any sort of VR training?
There's a few apps out there. Yeah, some guys do. It depends on the guy.
Christian does not use.
I mean, he's been playing long enough to
I've
where
messed
it's
with
slowed
them.
down.
There's one, I can't think of the name of it, but I mean, you can pick the pitcher, you can pick the stadium. You're in the moment, you're in the batter's box, but something about it.
It's weird.
Yeah, like there's such a depth perception thing with an arm swing and figuring out pitch shapes and being able to see. I think there's things we pick up.
So you don't use it.
Yeah, I don't. For me, it hasn't been realistic enough yet.
Okay.
To buy into it. There's a ton of good apps out there. There's something that we started using this past year. There's in the batting cage. There's just a big black screen with a video projector on it, and pitcher arm slot. Like it's the guy you're facing that day on the mound. The video of him throwing his pitches, his actual pitches. It's not just a curveball. It's their shape with their spin metrics. All the things, right? Like a guy who spins a fastball harder, the ball does different stuff, right? There's less drop. They call it like hop or ride, where guys more spin, the ball carries more. Like it presents like you feel like the ball's rising. So like little things like that where like I could go take 10, 15, 20 at bats off the starter before the game even starts. And it's still a little
stage.
It's not perfect, but yeah.
Yeah, but there's a way to like feel angles and like you go face a guy like Chris Sale. And it's like, all right, I know he's left side. I know it's a funky slot.
Yeah.
Put it on the screen. Let me see what it is. And you see like there's a hole where the ball's going to come out, and they put Chris Sale up there.
I've seen that.
Yeah, the thing starts moving, and it's like almost off the screen. You're like, it's just a good reminder of like, oh, okay, like
He's a big
ball's coming. Like, yeah, he's standing here, but the ball's coming from over here. Yeah, it's a cool. It's helpful for sure.
Wow.
Do you guys study pitchers?
Yes.
Like you watch film.
Yeah, film. We have every stat percentage, count, heat maps, anything you could need to know about a guy's pitch. Like, it's honestly, it's like it's my first couple years in the big leagues. I was like, this is great. Like I know everything. Yeah. Nobody's ever gonna get me out. And it was too much. It was like all of a sudden I'm in the box and it's like 2-2. You're like, he's like 70% breaking ball, and it'll lock you up sometimes.
Yeah.
I guess the simple answer would have been watch Moneyball, asshole.
No, it's cool. It's one of my favorite parts about it. I'm a get lost in the weeds guy. Like I like the weird thoughts and if there's like a crazy nugget of info, like
give it to me.
I want to know it. Like I'll decide if I need it or not. But yeah, these days it's like I want to know a guy's heat map. I want to know where his pitches end up. Right? It'll be a strike zone box, and it's color coordinated. Here's where his fastballs go. It's like how they pitch me is going to be different than how they pitch you. But over 20 starts, a guy throws 400 pitches.
Got a general idea where.
Yeah, it's like I don't care where he's aiming. His tendencies are going to show up. Patterns are going to show up. Like I like heat maps. I like knowing what a guy's secondary pitches are. When he needs to get an out, he needs to make a pitch. There's a guy in scoring position, and I'm at the plate. What he's going to go to. Guy could have a good fastball, but all of a sudden it's like 3-2. 2-2, guy on third, guy on second. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, he's 80% spin with a guy in scoring position.
Yep.
It's like, oh, okay, 80%'s a big number.
Yep.
Right.
It's like so like you learn to kind of sort through and like what I'm after. So like I've asked our analytics team. I'm like, okay, this heat map is for everybody. Give me what they throw to 3, 4, 5 hitters.
Yep.
Because that's going to be different than how they treat a leadoff guy or an 8-hole guy, right? A guy who is a bunt candidate. Like, what are they trying to do?
Take the trash out for me. I need to know what I'm going to get.
Yeah, like narrow this down to what hitters similar to me, what do they see?
Yeah.
And they dial it up and give it to you. And wow.
Yeah, there's a sheet of paper in my locker when I walk in every day, and it's like, this is how he's going to throw to you. And it's chances are it's pretty spot on.
So, I mean, you obviously process that information, you get it, you step in the box, like first, second and a half, you play the mind game, and then it's like, all right, throw this to me, bitch.
Yeah, right. Even that, it's like you can't be in the box thinking,
Yeah. It has to be like
I think he's gonna throw this. I think he's gonna
second.
throw this. It's like, so for me, it's like going into the game, I'll make my plan. As long as the starter's in the game and I'm facing him, I'm looking for fastballs in this location. I'll adjust the breaking balls. If there's a big number, an 80%er, a 70%er, I'll keep it in mind. But you have to be ready to compete. And I think the more info, it kind of pulls at that.
Was there any of that in college at South Carolina? Did you get any analytic stuff?
At the time, no. It's changed these days.
I'm sure
Like,
it's completely different.
yeah, I train at Carolina in the off seasons now, and
They're supplying that stuff
in their
now.
cages. Yeah, they got info everywhere, and it's cool. But at the time, it was like you knew what a guy had. You knew, if he was a stud, if he had something for you. But it was I think more of a go compete mentality.
Is
All right.
hitting a baseball the hardest thing in sports?
Yes, I don't know.
Imagine.
I've
I
never
mean,
had.
They say that, and
I've never had Clowney chasing me down in the backfield, so I don't know.
Three-step drop for a reason.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard
there's
to
also
say.
a quick game for a reason. Catch, all right, see it.
I know
I'm
it's
outta
like
here.
it's what I do for a living, and I'll go a week without touching a baseball.
Yep.
Like it's humbling for sure.
Talk about the transition from college to the majors. Obviously, I mean, everybody starts off in minor league baseball, but talk about the growth and development during the minor league baseball sucks. Like I hear everybody's like, it is one of the most miserable experiences you'll ever have. It's an opportunity, but I want to get to the bigs. Talk about the transition from college to pros, and then what minor league baseball is like.
Yeah, minor leagues, the lifestyle is a grind. I think the baseball is great. For me, it was like looking back at it, it was about reps and volume and like. Right, you get 500, 400, 500, 600 at-bats a year.
Yep.
You play in the minors for a handful of years. It's like,
It's a lot of reps.
right, 2,000 at-bats. It's like that bulk of figuring out who you are, what works, what doesn't work. Okay, I gotta change my leg kick. I gotta do this. I gotta change my approach. I need to think right center. You learn so much without realizing it,
Right.
Because of that bulk.
Yep.
And you got something to prove. You're trying to get promoted. You're trying to go to AA and AAA and work your way up. Like ultimately, obviously, the big leagues is the goal. But in the thick of it, it's just a game. Like you're going out and playing a game tonight. And I think you pick up things imprint on you, and you realize like you develop an identity of who you are as a player. I think without really realizing it. I think most of my development came at the big league level. Like I was a really good player. I could hit, and then all of a sudden I got a taste of the big leagues, and it felt different. It was like, man, I'm just not like this is. I got to figure.
I gotta
it out.
change something.
That's
Yeah.
what I was going to ask you. I mean, was there a point in time where you're like, I don't know if I can do this?
Yeah. There was.
I mean, I know you said it humbles you a little bit, but to the point where you're like, this is harder than I thought it was going to be.
No,
Yeah.
It's more like the pay's so good, I better figure this out.
Yeah, you're like I gotta figure this out. Yeah, it's a game. Everybody says, right? It's overused. It's a game on failure. It's like you fail 7 out of 10 times, and you're a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer, yeah.
Right? Like,
I remind our little leaguers that because they cry if they go
yeah,
9 out of 10.
yeah. I cried when I struck out up until high school. You know, like I don't. It's getting comfortable. Like. Learning from the failure, right? Like I feel like they're all like easy cliches, but like you get in the thick of it and it's like, man, like how am I gonna get to the big leagues? Like I just struck out 7 at-bats in a row. Like how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
And it's like there's a lot of getting comfortable with failure isn't, for me, it wasn't like being okay with it. It was understanding like it's a part of it. It doesn't mean I'm not good enough. It doesn't mean this guy's better than me. It's like I need to make my adjustment. Where's the learning thing right here? Like it's hard to figure out in the moment, right? I'll still go 0 for 10 and go down in the tunnel and shred a bat in the tunnel and throw my helmet and I'm
I still get
pissed,
pissed
right?
off.
Like,
Yeah.
like it sucks, but it's refreshing. It's like I don't know. It's hard to put into words.
That was a big Coach McDermott thing, and this was years 7, 8, 9, 10 for me was, and McDermott harped on it a bunch, is like you either win or you learn. There's no losing because like from the losses, there's so many different things that you can steal. And like, you know, I was older in my career, but I'm like, Coach, you sure about that? We just got our asses kicked. Like, we just lost by 30 points. Like, I don't feel like there are learning points of it, but we just got our teeth kicked in.
I just learned that we just got our ass whipped.
Yeah, it hurts too much to figure out what there is to learn.
Right.
You're like, what do you mean? What am I going to learn from this?
Right.
But if you dive in on a deeper level, like there's something that you can take from every sense of defeat that you can store up, and like, I'm not going to let that happen again.
And the moments aren't as big as they feel at the time.
Correct.
Right? Things aren't as good as they seem, and they're not as bad as they seem when you're in the heat of it. Where it's like, you ask me now what my worst stretch of the season was, I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you.
Yep.
But in the moment, you're like, am I ever going to get a hit again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you
then
did.
you look back at it and you're like,
You sure as shit did.
so drafted by the Orioles in the 4th round, ended up, you said, thankfully signing in Arizona. That was a big blessing for you. Now with the Astros, congrats, brother.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Talk about that journey and kind of each step and nuggets you've taken and just like pieces that have you where you are in your career and why the confidence is where it's at, why the drip is where it's at, all that stuff.
Don't tell him.
God almighty.
I think we all athletes, we have this moment of like, we're not doubting it, but there's a little bit of like, am I good enough? Do I belong here? Like a little bit of like imposter syndrome to some extent.
Yep.
And then something happens. It's usually not like a moment, but over time you buy into yourself. You're like, yes, this is who I am.
Where I
Like,
belong, yeah.
I got this. Like, I can trust myself. Like, you prove it to yourself that you can let your guard down a little bit. You can go play. You can have fun. Like, I can go get out and strike out and come back in the dugout and laugh with my teammates about it. And it doesn't mean I'm not taking it seriously. Doesn't mean I don't care. It's like a part of being ready for the next moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Short memory.
Yeah, exactly.
Were you in Arizona with Joyce? Matt Joyce? No? You know who Matt Joyce is?
Yeah. We didn't cross paths.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Am I making this person up?
he's a Tampa guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good buddy.
If you can't tell, he loves Tampa.
It's hard not to love.
I was not in Tampa, but coming up with the O's, I spent some time in Sarasota. I was there for 3 or 4 years.
How does Sarasota fit compared to
Sarasota's
Tampa?
beautiful. Beautiful. It's a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
A lot more expensive.
Yeah, Siesta Key.
Yeah.
Spring break.
Talk about elevating your game. I mean,
very
with the Diamondbacks. I mean, you were AAA for a while. Who was the first baseman you were behind? You were behind Paul Goldsmith for a long time, and like you were in the NL, so there was no DH opportunity. So you kind of had to sit and bake. Like what you said, those reps were priceless, and being able to get a bunch of at bats and being down in AAA because it was able to store and get the reps in the practice. But how nice would it have been to have that DH spot during those years?
Yeah. I'd like to think that I'd have had a job for sure. It's a crazy thing, man. It's the way I got to Arizona too was, so came up with the O's. Chris Davis was their guy. He earned a huge contract there. Ended up getting designated that next season, that spring training. And like with baseball, right, there's a 40-man roster. So there's 40 guys that are considered on the roster. That of those 40 guys, they can pick the 25 or 26. At the time, it was 25, and that's what makes up the big league team. And so the other 15 guys are in AAA on the 40-man roster. So they're guys that you call up. Somebody gets hurt, you bring them up. So I was on the roster with them when basically for a team to take you off the 40-man roster, they have to designate you for assignment. So I got DFA, which means they pull you off their 40-man. You become available to all the other teams. For a team to claim you, they have to put you right on their 40-man roster. So right, they paid CD, earned it, great guy. Showed up to spring, got DFA'd. The Braves claim me a couple days later. So right on their 40-man report, they were in Orlando at the time. Report to spring with the Braves. Freddie was their guy. It was like,
Yeah, this is fun.
all right. Like,
Why'd you guys do this?
yeah, I'm like, all right, well, maybe, like, whatever. Maybe there's a chance somewhere. A week later, they DFA'd me. The Reds claim me a couple days later. They do spring in Arizona. So hop on a flight, fly out to Arizona. Was in spring training at camp with them for about 2 weeks. The Reds DFA me. D-backs ended up claiming me. They DFA'd me, but if you don't get claimed by another team, you end up going basically not on the roster, but you go to the minors.
Yep.
All right, tailgaters, want to take this time to remind you guys to get on our action partner sponsor, Underdog. All right, you can find them on the Apple Store. You can find them on Google Play. Find them online, underdog.com. We got our guy, Christian Walker. I think he might have, I don't know what the actual line is, but it's going to be higher or lower, probably around 20 home runs. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer to hit the higher on that deal. Speaking of that, you want to go, if you do it, download the app, use code Tailgate Talks, and they give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Absolute no-brainer. I don't know why the hell you wouldn't do it. They're just giving you free money to make some action on there. So again, Tailgate Talks is the promo code. Download the app at Underdog. Kind of a no-brainer. Higher or lower, you get a daily fantasy team operation. So, I mean, go ahead and download it. Use the code and rock and roll.
Listen up, Gamecock Nation. Meet your new favorite streamer, Deputy Smitty. A former police officer and diehard South Carolina Gamecock fan, Deputy Smitty brings action-packed content to life every night on Twitch starting at 9:30 p.m. Connect with him on social media by searching Deputy Smitty and join his growing community on Discord at discord.gg/Deputy Smitty. So grab a drink and catch the thrills, laughs, and plenty of Gamecock pride in every stream.
What's up, Gamecock fans? When you're getting ready to cheer on the Garnet and Black, get fired up with White Hot Cinnamon Whiskey out of Hollow Creek Distillery. With only 3 all-natural ingredients and 1/3 less sugar than other similar brands, is sure to be a touchdown at your next tailgate. Ask for White Hot Cinnamon Whiskey at your favorite spirits provider, and be sure to visit their award-winning Hollow Creek Distillery over in Leesville, South Carolina. Go Gamecocks.
Yeah, the hazing, it's changed a lot lately, but the hazing for rookies it was fun for a little bit. I traveled through customs. So when I debuted with the O's, you go to Toronto, they're in division. You have to go through customs for that travel. They did the rookie dress up, knowing that we have to go through customs. Yep. I was dressed like a French maid, like I'm short skirt.
Is there a picture of this?
Oh, it's got to be out there somewhere.
we got to find a picture of this.
Yeah,
Dakota will get it.
I mean, it was ugly, but you don't think, like, it's my first road trip. You're just excited to be a part of it. Like, you get on the team bus.
Hey, team.
They call you up to the front and they're like, sing a song. And you're like, oh. I mean, Steve Pierce was on the team at the time, right? So he's like playing the Gamecock card. Like, it was fun, but they find a way to embarrass. It's another thing that, like, in the moment you're like, I hate this. But now looking back, you're like, oh.
Well, then you also get to enjoy it when you're an older guy. Like, you get like, you're like, I feel for that guy because that was the worst 6 minutes of my life.
It's tough to watch sometimes, but it's like, but somebody goes up on the mic and they sing a song and like the team joins in and it's like you're walking back getting high fives and it's like nice. You just
team
buy into it, right? Like buy in.
We would do that during training camp. We would do a rookie show where they would make fun of coaches and all these other things, but then they'd also like have to pick. Most of them would always cop out and go fight song, and it's like, hey, sing a song, and they're like, oh man. And it's like, well, sing us your fight song then. And like everybody ended up getting to a point where they're like, I'm just gonna fight this until I can just sing my fight song.
Yeah. You make it ugly enough. They're like, all right, just
all right, man, you're done. Boo.
Yeah. They would do the signing bonus question, like where they'd go up there and they'd ask you, what was your signing bonus? And like, guy would rip it off. Or tell whatever their signing bonus was, and everybody throws bottles at and stuff.
What round were you drafted? How much money you made? You got anything left?
Yep. That's incredible. All right, so talk about kind of the takeoff in Arizona. I mean, you have had a heck of a career and a run there. Now you're with Houston, but talk about kind of the buildup. Has your hitting mentality changed? Has your approach changed? Baseball's changed a bunch. Launch angles. Christian, go hit it out. Like, what's the mindset?
Yeah. A little bit of that, like figuring out who you are as a player, what value you bring to the team. Me going up trying to just like poke singles. It's cool. Average, get on base for sure. Get on base, it helps the team. But my job is to drive in runs.
Right.
Like I'm trying to split gaps, trying to leave the yard. There's a couple guys along the way. Like all my hitting coaches in the big leagues, great. Minor leagues, great. Like everybody had a role. Everybody had an impact on me for sure. I came across a guy outside of the teams, outside of pro ball. His name's John Walton. He runs an academy in Collegeville, PA, Diamond Dreams Academy. But I like played Legion ball for his dad at one point. It was like we were in similar baseball circles. John's closer to my age. I was living in PA at the time in an off season, and he reached out. Was like, "Hey, I got an academy. Come hit. It's yours if you need a cage, right?" Just like a harmless text. Like started hitting. Me and him started talking. Fast forward to now, like he's my hitting guy. He is like when I need mechanics, when I'm in a funk, when I need to feel something, when things are feeling good, I'm like, hey, I don't know what's happening right now, but remember these at bats. Like this is where I need to be, right? It's like so crossing paths with him, right? We're 7 years into this relationship now. For sure had an impact and change in my career. But all the right, like learning how to hit the ball in the air. Like, okay, what do I do well? If I put the bat on the ball, I hit it hard. If I just put the barrel on the ball, it's going to be 100 miles an hour off the bat. Like, okay, now I don't want that 100 to be on the ground. It's just a single.
Right.
Like a lot of times it's an out, especially in the big leagues. If you hit a ground ball, you're out.
Yep.
It's like, all right, how do I hit this ball in the air? How do I learn how to do what I do well and help the team? And he for sure changed my career. I can't explain enough how much he's done for me. Like, helped me fall back in love with the art of hitting and understanding. Like I said earlier, like I love the weeds and the nooks and crannies. A big part of that is
he helped you study that.
My relationship with him and how much one nugget can change things.
Help, yeah.
Right? It's like, tell me everything you know, because one thing you say might click.
Right.
So him for sure. I think playing for a big league staff in Arizona who I could tell trusted me as a player. My goal wasn't to like go earn people's trust. It was like show up, do things the way I want to do things, like the way I know how to do things. Like I'm a worker, I'm a reps guy. I love it. I find comfort in the preparation. It's like I'll feel better for a game if I go out and take 100 ground balls beforehand. Like it's not about the ground balls. It's not about like learning how to field again.
It's my piece.
It's like knowing going into the game, like I'm prepared for this game.
You're zen.
Exactly. And
what is a typical warm up for baseball? And you're going to a game. Like, what do you just get a bunch of?
No, you guys are there. What, 3-4 hours before the game?
So 7 o'clock game. We're there at noon.
Holy smokes!
It's a long, slow ramp up. Get there at noon, eat lunch.
And you're a high energy guy. How the hell does that? How does that play into that?
I saved my caffeine for right before the game.
Yeah,
it's a slow drip for sure. So you go in the weight, right? Like get there, eat lunch, chill out, get changed, get ready for the workout. Go in the weight room, get the body ready. Some guys lift before games, some guys lift after games. No, that's changed over my career. These days I lift post game. But usually the cages are open from like 1 until game time.
But are you swinging 100%? Is it game type speed or is it just kind of
a lot of slow reps early?
Okay.
Yeah, get loose. You're working on stuff. There's drills, there's environments. You're setting up the cage like for example, like flips at different angles, setting the machine up, like going righty angle, lefty angle. Like, oh man, I'm feeling real like I'm crashing forward. I can't stay back. It's like, all right, well, we're going to set the machine up on big, slow breaking balls today. Like create an environment in the cage like it's a figure it out without thinking about it type situation.
Just be an athlete.
Yeah. And so it's a lot of like flips, tee work. Everybody has a different routine. That was another thing I had to learn at the big league level was like, it's not about proving to people I'm here to outwork any, like working hard doesn't get you in the lineup. Like you got to show up, you got to do it. You got to perform. So everybody has their different routines. So for me, it's like get there at noon, 12:30, grab a bite, hit the weight room, get the body loose, get ready to go, head to the cages. I'll spend an hour in the cages. Some days it's
crack a couple beers and
yeah. Some guys maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't Marshawn Lynch, wasn't he drinking Hennessy before games? Did he come
he
on and say that?
He did a shot and then he ate Skittles was like his pregame snack.
Yeah, I think there's something to that, right? Like you
It's your
can build the moment up to something too big. And if like
how do you calm your nerves to put yourself in the best
I'm
mindset?
not saying you should drink before games, but if
if
a shot of Hennessy helps you take the edge,
doing that.
like it worked for him, right? Like nobody's gonna sit here and be like, hey, Marshawn, don't do that.
Yep.
You
That's
know?
100% right.
He's not going to listen either way.
Well, you've talked a lot about hitting. Like,
Yeah, so after the cage.
well, you got
After the
some
cage,
weather
we head
there,
out to
yeah.
the field.
Yeah.
Batting practice on field is a couple hours before the game. Home team hits first, visiting team hits second. 7 o'clock game, you're on, like, BP starts like 3:30, 4 o'clock on the field for the home team. Before that is a lot of defense work. I'll go out. We have a little, like a little machine in foul territory. I'll start with some knee drills. It's like glove isolation stuff.
Yep.
Working one-handed. That was something I had to learn. We all learned like the alligator hands growing up. I'm not a free mover.
Yep.
Shocker.
Yep.
So I had to learn how to like get comfortable with one hand, get my body out of the way.
Yep.
That kind of unlocked me at first base a little bit. So get there, do knee stuff, forehands, backhands, out to the field, ground ball work, make some throws to second, throw some balls home, hold a couple guys on. I want to catch some balls from my infielders.
Yep.
You're out there for another hour and a half, leading up into BP. You know, take a couple rounds of BP, you come back in, you got 2 hours or so before the game, hour before the game, depending if you're the visiting team or not.
Now, is BP just hit it as far as you possibly can?
For me, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just swing
love
away.
that. Right, but it's like
I love that.
that's where I start to free myself back up for the game. My cage work is regimented. It's I'll train my path. It's like very drill. It's isolated work. Okay, my bat plane's good. Okay, make sure my lower body's good. Okay, hit a curveball. Okay, good. Hit a good fastball. Good. BP.
Let's go.
Now we start transitioning to like I'm trying to feel sexy for the game again, right? It's like
Confidence, boys.
yeah,
Give
yeah,
it to me. Give
yeah,
it to
yeah.
me.
Put me in the group with the best BP thrower who's going to feed the honey hole,
Yep.
and we're launching.
Let it ride.
We're launching, yeah. It's like, but that's like some guys go out and they want to hit a bunch of backside ground balls, and they're like, I'm good. That's my path. I'm locked. Other guys go out and it's full home run derby for BP.
Talk about like hitting approach when you were a kid versus what it is now. I mean, Grayson, I've talked to Grayson a little bit about it, and it is how much speed and power can I generate? It's not like, it's almost like the big league mindset. Go hit the ball out of the yard, go hit gaps, go drive runs in. I mean, even at this age where he's working with 8, 9-year-old kids, like that was not the approach probably that you had when you were getting coached at a young age.
Right. Yeah, that was a lot of my relationship with John was breaking these habits. Not that they were bad habits. I think they're things that I needed to learn. Right, college ball, minor league ball, you get a lot of like, okay, here's a hit and run round. Like hit a ground ball behind the runner. Like you learn how to manipulate the ball. You learn how to do different things. I think there's a lot of value to that. But then I get to a point where it's like, all right, why am I working on hitting a ground ball? It's like, I don't
that's not what I'm
ever
here
want to
for.
hit a ground
They
ball
pay
to
me
second
for
base.
it.
Yeah, that's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, it's like, but some guys, that plays for them. They're like, if I can do this, I can do this, right? You throw me a ball anywhere, I can hit it where I want. Now I'm locked. It's like, right? It's all about the guy and what they need to prove to themselves that they're ready to go compete.
Mental.
Exactly. It's
Right.
like it's that confidence
that
thing, right?
confidence.
Like you can't go into a game doubting yourself or thinking like,
you're cooked.
yeah, cook.
You're absolutely cooked.
I need to be perfect. I can't do like that's the worst. I can't do this. I can't let this happen. It's
So
like,
you would have loved playing for Spurrier then.
What? He didn't have high, did he have high expectations for you or tell you couldn't do?
I mean, you heard him. You got to be
Damn it,
perfect. You got to
damn it,
throw it.
Steven, why can't you just do this? Why can't you
like-
just do this?
Coach.
I'm trying.
Yeah, like what are we talking about here?
Coach Spurrier it got so bad to a point where he had his own little football that like you could drop kick and it's could turn into a perfect spiral. He would tell the equipment guys, go get my ball. And they'd run over to the thing, go get his ball. And he'd take a slow little drop, throw it.
He had to do his little.
Steven, it ain't that hard. It ain't
Oh
that
man,
hard. I can
yeah,
still
that'll
do
make you
it.
want to freak out.
I'm
huh?
like, Coach, the spiral wasn't the problem, man. It's like I got Clowney over here.
Yeah, trying to eat me.
Yeah,
breathing down my back.
Yeah. Like, what are we talking about? But yeah, it was tough. It was definitely a confidence. He was a confidence breaker. But you know, at the same token that Pat said, like he knew what I was capable of doing, and I
Pushed
just
you to a point.
yeah, he pushed it to a point. All right, I didn't want to drink beer. I needed to drink beer.
Almost a breaking point.
Yeah, somehow on some coaching level, breaking a guy's confidence can, with the right guy, can build it again.
For sure.
I agree. We've talked a lot about your bat, but your glove's getting pretty fancy now. Talk about kind of the glove work and the development there too. I mean, you talked earlier, you played third base, moved you to first. You weren't necessarily known for your glove, but you've always had a great bat. But Couple Gold Gloves on your belt now.
Yeah, by far the most proud thing that I am of so far in my career, the defense, because it hasn't always been there.
Yep.
I learned that like getting to the big leagues, staying in the big leagues, defense is huge.
Yep.
It's huge. You can't be a liability out there. And another guy who changed the trajectory of my career is Tony Perez-Chica. He was the infield coach, third base coach in Arizona. He's now just signed on with the Astros. So with
Did
me,
you
and,
manipulate this in your contract?
I wish. Yeah. Yeah. So he right when the offseason started, he ended up taking a job with the Astros. So we'll be together again over there. But another guy, like, lost in the weeds guy. Like, let's talk about footwork. Let's talk about arm slot. Let's talk about glove position. Like the little small details. Everything matters. Right. It's easy to go in the batting cage and take 200 swings. I didn't know how to do that defensively. It was like,
Is it harder to hit a fastball? Or is it harder to catch a fastball, like a grounder?
Hit. It's hard to hit a fastball. It depends on the fastball.
All right.
It's a big glove.
Depends on, yeah.
Yeah,
is a
but
big
it's
one,
like, yeah, but you got to glove it. You can't have it ricochet. And
yeah.
in
gotta
case
have
you
your
haven't
check down,
told,
right?
in case you can't tell, I don't know shit about baseball. I can't throw a baseball. I don't know how to. I don't know anything about it.
No, it's good.
So this is good.
He's
I'm
learning
learning.
baseball.
I'm learning.
Yeah,
I'm
it's,
like artificial intelligence.
It's there's no feeling. I mean, for me, like, your pitcher getting into a situation where he needs a big out, needs a double play,
Dang it.
gets the ground ball, you get to it and you screw it up. And it's like run scores. That's his ERA, right? It's like it's the worst.
Yeah.
But so whatever. Easy to find motivation on the defensive side of things, but Tony helped me big time. Like, willing to go out and do the reps. Like, he's a worker. Spring training's coming up. It's early days, early mornings. He'll be out there before anybody out on the ground ball field, just waiting,
Back with you
hanging
guy.
out. Yeah, a wizard with the fungo. He's A+. Yeah, he's helped me big time.
All right, talk about some of the rule changes. Pitch clock, bigger bases, shift ban. Like, is that in your? Do you think about that at all, or is it just time to go play?
Yeah, so part of like the union stuff, like the players union, players association, they run a lot of things by us. Like, they try to get players' votes on what we're into, what we're not into. Most of the time, we're resistant on things.
Yep.
We think the game is great as it is. Somebody wants to change it. Not sure how it's going to end up. It's like, well,
Yep.
let's
Don't
just
screw up.
let's
It
leave
ain't
it
broke,
as it
don't
is.
fix it.
The pitch clock has been great.
Yeah. It's been
Another
okay.
thing, it was like, it's a long, like, we're here for 3 hours anyway.
Right.
Like, if I need a second to like step out and take a breath, let me. But looking back on it, it's changed things big time. I remember our training staff they ran like some quick numbers with running like a 2 hour and 20-minute game, 2 hour 30-minute game versus 3:15 over the course of a year, and it's like, I mean, like, it's like 40 games worth
Holy shit.
of time on your feet, right? It's a big number. So trying to play every day, trying to be healthy for a whole season.
It's a long freaking season.
Yeah. Like, trying to be locked in that long, like locking in for 2 hours is much different than 3:30.
You're gonna need a couple more Zins.
Yeah.
How is
Let
it?
me ask you. Hold on, real quick. What's the superstition between? Do you have a certain one?
Yeah, most of my stuff is like pregame stuff.
Okay. But like when you see guys that step out of the thing and they're readjusting their gloves, changing their hat, putting the
Yeah. You'll ask guys like, "You superstitious?" Every baseball player says no, but we all got like our weird shit. Like,
they're a little stitious.
Yeah. if I'll like get a new bat out, like I'll switch up gear a lot. Like, go a couple at bats, not get a hit. It's like, I'm gonna go get a new one. This one
doesn't work.
This doesn't have any hits in this one. Like,
There's a hole in the bat.
Same cleats. Like, all right, well, I went 2 for 4 yesterday with
that,
like
give me that
arm
again.
sleeve tape. Like, I'm running it back.
Yep.
Like, and then like the more I think about it, it's like, I had 3 shots of espresso for breakfast. Like,
same
I
way.
ate this for lunch. Like, you're running the same. If you had a good day, you're running the same
Trying to
routine back.
replicate it.
Yeah, you're hitting the same restaurant, same cleats, same batting gloves, same bat. You're running it back for sure.
Yeah, I mean, same pregame meal. Like, if it's working until it doesn't work, I'm gonna do it over.
Yeah,
like
it's not me.
Chipotle.
It's not-
Chipotle was like my flight meal when we had an away game. I'd get Chipotle going
Look
in.
at him smiling over there.
I'd eat Chipotle, and like if played like shit that week. I'm like, all right, Chipotle's gone. Let's try to find something new.
Yeah, it's not your fault. It's the food.
Yeah, it's 100%. Yeah, it's someone else's fault.
Yeah.
It's
Avoiding accountability is helpful sometimes.
100%. Oh gosh, tell us like kind of. I mean, you were with the Diamondbacks for how long? Last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like going through free agency, like, did you want to sign back there? Or were you excited about the opportunity to expand? I personally, I was in Atlanta for 4 years. I had my last 2 years in Atlanta, and I was a free agent. And I'm like, it's time to monetize the situation. I played really well, but I like the rapport I've made with the coaching staff, the front office, teammates, friends. So talk about your decision and kind of stepping away and signing with Houston. I know it was tough for me in Atlanta.
Yeah, very much. There's a few different angles to it. Mm-hmm. My heart was there for sure. Mm-hmm. It's like my boys were in that clubhouse.
Yep.
My best friends, like you spend a lot of time around these people, especially in season. Like we're there from noon to midnight every day for 6 months, 7 months. Like there's something to that for sure. But thank you. Yeah, please.
Just getting
yes,
started.
Another for you. All three?
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so there's that. But also, like you said, that you put yourself in a spot to make it all count.
Yep.
And like do something really cool, special for your family.
Yep.
And free agency these days, like people want to talk about the owners and like it's a touchy word, but like the collusion stuff is like free agency is changing, right? It's changing. It's like you see a lot of really good players right now who don't have contracts. Guys last year who didn't have a deal up until opening day.
Yep.
Guys who should have been on a 5-year, 6-year, 7-year deal. For some reason, like free agency is very unknown, regardless of how much leverage you have. So you know, I always think like your value is your highest value is where you've been. Like those are the people that you've proved they can trust you. You know, you've earned it. They see what you do every day. Like you go into a team, you go into a series, you're there for 3 games. Like, yeah, you can leave a good impression, but the other guys are seeing the behind the scenes stuff. Like they know who you are when a teammate has a bad game and you walk over to his locker and bring him a beer and you're like, hey man, you're good.
Good thing
Let's go.
We play tomorrow.
Yeah, like that shit, I think it goes a long way.
Yeah.
And I think like you think about being a good teammate and like doing the things the right way, like I think that's, you know, there's some value there for sure.
Heck yeah, like leadership skills, all that stuff carries a lot of weight. It's probably why, I mean, I knew my play started to dip year 7 to 8. I could feel my play dip. But I was able to hang on for 2 more years because of my leadership ability, because I was coachable. I was able to, you know, teach some of the running backs, pass protection and stuff like that. So that probably saved me 2 years, believe it or not.
Dakota, what do you think on that?
I don't know about coachable.
Me, coachable?
Not coachable.
What do you mean? Do you guys have a side text where you bitch about me and how I have a high demand for you guys?
Just like how we have a side text bitching about Steven.
Oh yeah.
All of us. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we're all.
It's a circle of trust, but there's not much trust in the circle.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, no, but it was cool. I didn't know what to expect. I was felt like we had some leverage. I had some good years.
Yeah.
Like the defense has been good, the offense has been good. Been fortunate to stay on the field for, you know, a lot of those games. And it's like, all right, at the end of the day, like trying to make this count. I'm on the older side of things. 33 going into my free agent year. It's tough. It's like, you know, what can we get out of this? Like let's get it for everything we can.
It's crazy. 33 is old.
Yeah. Where were you down? Like where were the options?
There was a few teams. We talked with the Nationals a little bit. There was a lot of rumors flying with the Yankees. That seemed like it was going to be a thing.
My
but
dad's a Yankees fan, and he texted me about it.
yeah. There's like it's cool. Like Arizona was great. Like we would have definitely gone back to Arizona, but it's really far from home.
Yep.
And it was like, you know, kid on the way. It's like, you know, what do we need as a family? What do we need as like financial security, right? Like there's so many things that come into play. So ended up talking to Houston, Texas. You know, like that was a spot where we were very much interested. Before really the process started early in the off season, you know, my wife and I, like we had a list of teams. It was like, okay, if there is a decision to make, like let's create some favorites, and like Houston was on that list for sure.
Yeah.
So they were interested, and it's like everybody's interested until they make an offer.
Right.
So trying to figure out, like, it's like, a team calls and it's like, it's hard not to let the wheels start spinning. It's like, where would we live? Like, what's the everyday life like? Like, what's the travel like for her? Like, she lives here most of the time and goes back and forth, and it's like, right, there's so much that goes into it. So end of the day, Houston called. They were interested. We were interested. They ended up matching the number.
That's awesome.
We feel valued. They seemed very excited about it. It was just, a no-brainer, win-win for everybody.
You're going to go out there and kick ass, dude. I know you're going to dominate. Now, do you still keep up with South Carolina baseball? Or are you like an avid, like, watch every weekend to see what they do? Like, how often do you keep up with it?
Yeah, so try to from a distance. Spring training is crazy time.
That's true,
I try to tune in and watch. I like watching the games. Like reading reports and reading post-game stuff is cool, but I like getting a feel for the guys, with my own eyes. I train there, like I said, in the off season. So we'll be in the cage hitting, and the other cages will be full, and I'm constantly like watching the guys, how they work. Like, you end up pulling for guys. But yeah, I'm excited. I think a fresh start for a coach who has earned his earned his stripes for sure.
He's been the dude for a long time.
Yeah, I think when opening day starts, I think he goes to the winningest coach in college, Division I college baseball.
Yep.
Like, yeah, he's the guy.
He's the guy who's sitting in the big chair for us.
He's the guy. A lot of stuff he does reminds me of Tanner too. Like the hard nose, the old school vibe. Like,
That's probably why Tanner hired him.
yeah.
Yep.
I think, and I love it. I love everything about it. But
There was somebody shared a story about, I think it was Rob Kish. He shared a story about when LSU came to South Carolina and they played each other, and Tanner was like, yeah, you guys can come to our facility. I guess it was the Thursday before the game on Friday. And they don't have, I guess LSU's facility didn't have like a head coach office that kind of like overlooked the stadium and saw things. And he's like, you mind if I kind of walk around? If we're going to do this, I want to build something similar to what you guys have. It's awesome. And he wrote a note and he left it there for him. I would imagine that note left a little weight and the decision to bring him here. So no, I'm excited. Carolina baseball, I think, is in a really good place to continue to grow.
yeah, the guys seem like they're excited. I'm pumped.
All right, we're going to do some rapid fire questions here as we finish up.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Favorite MLB stadium to play?
Dodger Stadium.
Dodger Stadium. Why?
The energy is crazy.
Okay.
Really?
The music's so loud. They're sold out all the time. Like, yeah, they're booing at us, but
I still feel
the
it.
vibe is high. It's cool. It's whether you're firing up a crowd or quieting a crowd.
And they're really
the
freaking
energy,
good right now.
the energy is right. And they're a good team. It's like, I don't know if it's a rise to your competition or whatever, but I play well there.
Yep.
I think that's a big part of it too. It's a good place to hit. Yeah.
That's a good, yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding. Who's what is that? Who's the best pitcher you've ever faced?
Oh man.
Other than Mike Roth.
Yeah. DeGrom.
Really?
I remember facing him the year after he won the Cy Young Award, and I couldn't even see the ball.
Yep.
Like, it didn't make any sense. He was like we talked about, like, the analytic stuff, like really good extension. So like, if he by the time he gets down the mound and throws the ball, he's
It's an
like
extra foot
he's like
closer to you.
like 6 inches closer to you. Like, it feels like he's throwing fastballs like this close. It's like,
Like, where'd it come from?
yeah, there's like cut. It's like it's 115 miles an hour. Like, those at bats feel like they're moving fast. But him for sure.
All right, favorite teammate? Any level? Could be go back to high school
All
if you
right.
need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Evan Marzilli in college, Christopher Negron in the minor leagues in Reno, in
Yep.
AAA, who is now the third base coach with the Mariners. So in division with the Astros, I'm looking forward to seeing him a lot, for sure.
For sure.
At the big leagues, oh man, there's been so many. Recently, last year I played with Evan Longoria.
Yep. Old head.
Yeah, A plus, dude. A lot of similar
Tampa guy.
things. We like food. We like away from the field. We go out and try new restaurants. Like, it's like, it's never the reasons that you think, but he was one of my
cool
go-to
bond.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite memory, South Carolina. If you can name one that just kind of sticks out.
Yeah, I mean the Natties for sure.
There's a couple of them.
Electric.
I was gonna say, which one?
Yeah, the coming back from Omaha and going to the basketball stadium for like a welcome home thing, and it was like full of people, and then the parade, like feeling welcome from the city of Columbia, coming back after those championships.
Yeah. All right, last thing. Guys throw like triple digits is like a normal thing now in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it makes me sick.
How does that? I mean, a fastball hit hard is going to go a hell of a lot further though. So has that changed your mindset and changed your approach? Like just start early, load early, be ready to adjust. Like,
yeah. The timing is a thing for sure, but I think it boils down to like being ready to compete. I can't be in the box thinking about percentages, curveballs, like locations. What am I trying to do? Like runner, I got to move the runner. It's like
it's coming on me quick.
Yeah, you got to be ready to let it eat. It's like pick a good pitch, let it fly. The thought window is narrowed for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, I assume that with the pitch count, you can't think of all the analytics, right?
Yeah, and for a thoughthtul guy like myself,
That's
it's been
what I'm
helpful.
saying.
It's been very helpful. Yeah, it's like
Clear the
you
mind.
got 10 seconds,
Make a decision.
Control Alt Delete, step back in.
See ya. Bye bye
Yeah,
ball.
hopefully.
Shit out of the baseball.
Have you ever had a little battle with the pitcher? Like knock a freaking ball out of the park and little bat flip? I want to hear the shit talking stories.
Man, not too much shit talking, honestly. A guy that stands out is Walker Buehler. Being in division with the Dodgers, we had some battles.
He's the glasses. He's the shit.
He got me.
He
got me a couple times. I got him a couple times, but I remember being out taking ground balls for batting practice, and pitchers go out early and do their throwing and stuff, and he pulled me aside. Didn't know him at all, and like we introduced ourselves, and he told me how much he like had fun during our at bats. It was like it was kind of a cool moment where it was like, oh wow, like there's something else to this. Like yeah, it's like very much like a you mentality when we're in the box, right? It's like me versus you, but at the end of the day, it's like I had to make you sweat that at bat. Like
Mutual respect.
I'm up there like, fuck, what's he gonna throw now? Like, right, like he's got 100 in his back pocket. Like, right, like it's cool. So to somebody you respect on the field to pull you aside and like, hey man, I really appreciate like your game.
Yeah.
I'm glad we get to compete against each other. Like, nice job. Like I can't take a pitch off. It's like that's a cool honor, like a cool badge of respect.
I had a similar instance with Luke Kuechly. And with the Panthers when I was in Atlanta, and we got after it a bunch. We butted heads a bunch. We talked shit a bunch. He was the worst shit talker ever. Like for as elite as he was on the field,
He's a nerd, right?
all he told you was, he's like, you suck. Like his thing was like, you suck.
stink.
And it's like, everybody sucks compared to you, Luke. You're the defensive player of the year in and year out. So it was just like, I'm like, yeah, everybody sucks compared to you.
I was really hoping to hear like a Jose Bautista versus Sam Dyson kind of story.
No,
I
try to play with an edge, but I also try to be aware. Like I'm not trying to wear 100.
I'm not making that up though, right? Didn't that happen? Sam threw a freaking
what was that?
fastball
2014, 2015 post, or to get to the postseason or in the postseason,
and he
hit that 3-run and
just
threw it to the moon. Yep. And then there was like the next play, Sam got it. There was like he had to cover home, and Dice was in the middle of it, and like
All about
slapped
it.
some guy on the ass. Like it was, it got ugly. Yeah, you know Dice.
Oh yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah.
Those are the fun stories that I like hearing. All the analytical stuff.
Who's open? Who wants the
yeah.
ball? Who wants it right now?
Take it, Marcus. Here, Alshon, where you at? Grenade.
Yeah, I like the edge. Some dudes' antics come off as like crazy and like too much, but some guys you play against, you're like,
It's like,
he's got a presence out there.
strategic aggression, like knowing how to channel your energy and like when it is time to like go it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was my thing. It was like I could bottle it up. If it was time to let it out, like I knew when I needed to, and I could kind of bottle it out.
Yeah, but that's a game, right? Like,
Yep.
if I can say something to you that pisses you off enough,
Right.
to now you're
Get you
trying
off
to
your
do
game.
something more.
Yep.
Now you're not yourself.
Right.
Right? It's like Soto and the Soto shuffle. It's like, I wonder, I've never like got a chance to ask him, but I wonder, is that for you or is that because you're trying to like ruffle
it's gotta be a
feathers?
psych out, yeah.
Now dude's like,
It's a
I'm gonna
mental
throw my
game.
fastball by him, and
Right.
right, he hits it to the moon. It's like,
So cool. I'm sitting fastball now.
yeah, yeah, it's a fun game for sure.
Well, you play it well. That's for damn sure.
Some days.
That's all that matters.
You have a hell of a lot of chances, and
Yeah.
like you said, 3 out of 10 gets you in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Thank you for
Cheers,
joining us,
man.
dude.
Hell yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, thanks
Cheers.
for having me.
Absolutely. I wanted so bad to chug that right now.
I thought about if you were gonna do it, I was gonna do it.
Should we do it?
I'll rip one with you guys.
Chugging an IPA always is a tough task. All right, cheers.